Hello everyone, I'm Amrit. My group partner is Imai Zhao. The project title for the project title that we have is Vaccine. It's closer to vaccination drive. Let's get started. I'll share my identification. You can see all the details here. Um, that should suffice. Moving on, I would switch off the video. Okay, let's share the project description. Yeah, this project is based on vaccination drive. Basically, given the recent years when we saw COVID-19, humans faced an unprecedented challenge that they were never that they had faced a long time before. But given the advent of technology, we have been able to counter it recently. And similarly, our project is basically a database for all the vaccines that are present in a single repository, a single repository central hub that can be distributed to various countries. And we have multiple tables entities for that that handles the vaccination drive for each country that there can be multiple countries, states, zip codes, and similarly and even the atomic details, like one person is captured, and we can track every person. Let's move on to the ERD right now. Before that, am I missing something? No. This is the ERD diagram. Uh, as you can see, there's one table vaccine that is solely independent, that does not depend on any other any other entity. Countries related to vaccine. One country can have multiple vaccines. Country can order vaccine through vaccine order, and it can set the quantity that it requires, and it sets the order date. Mm, Vaccine order is having a dependency on both vaccine and country. Countries are divided into states, uh, states or provinces. These are divided into zip codes, and each zip code has multiple people. People have the person ID, the vaccine name, so that a person was taken hepatitis or measles will be entered twice. Person ID and the vaccine name are both as a primary key, and then it contains a boolean whether the vaccine like COVID has been received by the person or not. It also has the person name and the person age. There can be more attributes, but we are sticking to them since our group consisted of two people. We're sticking to less number of attributes. Moving on. Initialize database. So first I'll show my workbench. I have all these tables that are already populated here and with data, but we'll delete one by one. So I'm guessing we need to delete first so that we can show the initialize before, then country, and then state. It basically drops according to dependence. You can all drop it before country, drop it. Oh yeah, vaccine order is the one that depends on both of them. And now I can delete this. And finally this. Moving on, as you can see that we have no tables anymore. And if I go on Eclipse and yeah, it's server is on. Yeah, server is on. Okay. And if I go here, if I click on initialize database, it goes back to the main page again. Again. Yeah, now you can see that it's populated yet again. Uh, I think it goes on to say, yeah, string in commands to create the data gives the data equals and insert initial data. So going on to the code, let's look at the code. First, let's go through the code. So if it already this is the drop table. If it exists, basically if it exists, it will delete, and then it will start creating. But while creating, it's important to create from the uh, from the entities that are in line. So first we can create vaccine, then country, and similarly vaccine order. As also you would be seeing that we are all also updating data that is present for that table itself, and this goes on for every entity like state, and we enter the data that is required. Um, yes, and then it's finally executed to populate all the data. We see, yeah, it is populated yet again. We'll on explain if you need more. It's fine. If you really want to open add one entity, okay. Now we need to add one entity. So the two entities that I worked on was state and zip code. So first we'll start populating the parent entities because else we'll face problems while entering data. So first I'll add data to vaccine, and if I do this, yeah, this works. Then I'll add it to country. Okay, now if we go to vaccine, we should have 111, and then if we go to country, we should have 1111. This is just for a simple solution, but I can show that it works. Now if we go back to this and go to state and create a statement 111, it goes and if I read, you can see that the data is displayed. There's a validation form that we have created. Let's go back. We'll show that even referential integrity fails if I try to say 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. It will show that it fails because there's not a referential integrity from its two parents. It's one parent. Yeah, and then if we go to update, we need to update it. We use the primary key. We use the country ID as one because it's used for referential integrity. And then if we update state, you'll see that these are updated. This was the data, and these are the new values. And finally, if we go for delete, we go 1, 1, and as you can see, there's no data to this state. Yeah, there's no data 1, 1. Moving on. So this question is already implement the previous statement. Okay, edit one entity. Okay, so basically I'll have to show everything that has been done or not. I'll do that. If we go to state, first we'll go to domain and see the state.java. This has all the attributes for the entity that is present, and this gets state and set state, and basically the getters and setters. How we do this is using going here, source, and generate getters and setters. Moving on, so this is all the attributes of the entities. Moving on, we have state which sets all the data and deletes or updates all the data that redirects as an unrequired. Uh, this is add for when you add a new data, insert into state value. This is the SQL query that executes. Okay, and these are the integer strings as and when required float. Similarly, there's update. Update requires two primary keys, so where state ID is equal to vaccine name, then it updates here. Delete also requires two primary names, and this is what it does. And finally, this is defined by state name. It's when read happens. So you get state ID and vaccine name, and then finally see the data that is available. We have shown state service. It redirects to wherever we require what to do. Find all is for basically showing the validation preview that is required. If we go to web servlet, yes, we have create here. This does the post and the get. Uh, it sets the object type that is required, and it stores it in a list and passes on during all data that has to be shown. And similarly for delete, we have the same, and then it finally shows you of using state server find all of all the data that is available in the table, and this is the validation preview. This deletes the data and find all of all the data that is available. It also shows it in the console because as for mm, sanity check, or rather console check, so that the developers have the idea of what is happening, and update update happens a similar way where we change the data as and when required, set the data as and when required. Moving on. Okay, so we have a delete, and do we have to show JSPS? If okay, regardless of show JSPS, not sure for one JSPS. For state, we have multiple. First, this is the one that is there and it redirects to as and when required state create, read, update, and delete. And further on, it goes to show the data, and the data is public that is shown. This basic HTML state read, update. That should suffice. This is the all state. This is basically the data that we display. It reads so all the data that is available for each. Moving on to the second entity, should have, yep. Let's go to zip code. If we create a zip code, oh, okay, we'll have to create another state ID and vaccine name. Where are we filling? And did I delete the workbench? Oh, we deleted the data. That is why it's not there. Okay, so let's go back to state. State. And now if you go back and create the zip code, should work. Now it works. One zip code. This is the validation form. If you go back and we update, state ID should be there. No, so yeah, state ID should be one, else it will fail. As you can see, this has been updated yet again. Let's go back, delete, and as you can see, there's no more. Oh, one that we were just seen. Moving on. Simple queries. Go back. Simple query. One EMA implemented and one I implemented. This is a simple query that I see its vaccine name and vaccine quantity. This is the data that I just created as a placeholder test data. Um, we go to the code. Should be simple, very simple. Oh yeah, there it is. So again, as required, we create the getter status and the vaccine name and vaccine quantity. Because if you see this code, these is two attribute vaccine name quantity. So we set those data. This is where the data thing happens. Where we get the data and set the data uh, mm, that is required. Moving on, this is the server that is called, and this is the one that it goes here, and this goes here, and this goes here. Finally, I think I'm done with this. More. Now, for section 8 and for section 9, I basically I uh, combined it to create one query itself. If you see the complex query, complex to so right. See, this is from where it should without exist and the aggregate. So and also it checks whether cost is greater than 10 or not. After it does this, it should work back complex. Okay, now it's complex too. Yeah, as you can see, complex works. This was the entity. This was the complex query that I was responsible for. Moving on, what do we have? Yeah. Okay. So how did we divide our work? We separated into 50-50. I was in charge of two entities, and EMA was responsible for two. But we did create the parent entities also. So we mostly made all the database itself rather than just four. And from what was my contribution? As I said, two entities, two queries, and two aggregate queries also. I think I should have it in somewhere in the page. Yeah, it should be somewhere in this. Um, okay, regardless, yeah, that was my contribution. The ideation was also my contribution, as me and Yamai made the um, group late, and by that time I had already thought of the project, and Imai also agreed that it's a good project given the circumstances. Is thinking study learned with this project. Um, yeah, I think I learned to be a better communicator. Imai and we and I come from different countries, and we have problem communicating well. So I generally I definitely became a better communicator. Secondly, it was fun to work with Imai. He's a good person. I saw that teamwork is really required to be successful for this kind of project. Thirdly, I was not aware of JSP, Tomcat, Apache, and most importantly, rather. And finally, I got to see how it works in action. What other functionalities of Yes? So a proper UI that uh, is there that also uses Beautify for this project, and better um, basically mostly a better UI for this. Who could benefit from our project? Um, I think mostly this when we made this project, we thought of how it would benefit other people. Basically, this can be used by countries and by pharmaceutical companies to create a central repository and help and uh, manage the people, that is manage their vaccination numbers. And yeah, thank you. Let me know if you have anything more. Thank you.